And welcome, one and all, to the State Hockey Centre in Tasmania on the final day of the Oceania Cup series. And what a week of hockey it's been. It's been an absolute pleasure to be here to watch it. And we're about to see the final game in the women's series. Australia very well poised with a 1-0 series lead. But it's been so tight through the week that you wouldn't be at all surprised if New Zealand make a fist of this and perhaps get a result themselves. So a lot to play for. And I think a lot of the talk through this week in relation to the women's team has been how impressive this crop of young players has been. But we shouldn't mention that the more experienced players, Megan Rivers, Madonna Blythe, Casey Eastham and Kobe McGurk, 100-plus game players, have played their part as well in a really good all-round showing from the Hockeyroos. So we're looking forward to this one very much. Number 7 in the world is the ranking of Australia. Number 6 is the ranking of New Zealand. And we're about to watch the Police Pipe Band perform for us here on a very chilly Sunday afternoon in Hobart. The top temperature forecast is just 11 degrees. So in plenty of places this would be a winter's day in terms of the conditions. But in Hobart at this time of the year you get used to it. And it's all part of the the fun of living on a small landmass such as this. So the Police Pipe Band is playing out the national anthem, so we might just pause for that. So maybe I think what's going to happen, I think in this next hour, they're getting a bit excited about the hockey, so they might cross to me a bit more often than not, but we can work that out. So when they do it, I might just keep going and do my cross and just keep talking. It'll be fine. Always a stirring moment when we have the national anthems. And the Police Pipe Band did a great job there in delivering those stirring renditions. So we're looking forward to lots of interesting commentary through this next 70 minutes and some right here on the Hockey Australia website. It's great to be with you and to have this opportunity to watch these high-class matches at such close quarters. Australia, of course, leading the series by 1-0, and New Zealand haven't been far off. Just one goal separating these sides over 2 games, and this could go either way. We're away in the final game, the decider, and Australia now moving into attack early on this chilly afternoon in Hobart. Sean Anderson, welcome to you. We'll be crossing to and fro and doing some commitments for ABC Grandstand around the country today. And Sean's been an absolute mountain of information for us through the week. And Sean, we come to the centre today on a chilly afternoon with New Zealand going into attack Just wondering what might pan out over the next couple of hours. It should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks, Pete. There's certainly much up for grab today in both games. I've been sort of up all night trying to work out what the situation is with world ranking points. The FIH will be doing their pool allocations for the London Olympics in January 2012. So, particularly for the men's game, there's so much riding on that. The situation here is that if the Hockeyroos only need a draw to win the championship, they will go up to 6th in the world, New Zealand down to 7th. That's not super important because New Zealand will be playing at the Champions Trophy in January and we won't be, so they will re-jump us again. But I just think for a number of reasons, world ranking points one, but just from a confidence point of view, it'd be great to see the girls finish off this tournament well. They played so well yesterday. Adam Commons, the coach, made comment that it was, in the second half in particular, was the best half of hockey he's seen the girls play since he's been coach. So really encouraging signs. And from the men's point of view, there's so much up for grabs there. We'll probably speak about it a little bit later on, but they need to win by 3 goals or more to win the tournament. If they don't win, it'll be the first time in 40 years that they've lost to New Zealand and could potentially lose their number 1 ranking in the world. So lots up for grabs today.
So there's a suggestion, Sean, that Australia, if it doesn't win this series, could lose its number 1 ranking in the world?
Yeah, I don't want to go on record yet. It's still the FIH world ranking system is a little bit difficult to understand, and they're based in Switzerland, so I've kind of been up all night trying to track down the right people and ask the right questions. So my understanding is that it's right. If we do lose the series, Germany, given that they won their European Championship recently, will take the number 1 spot in the world. As I said, that's not 100% confirmed, but that's the way I understand it. We'd have a chance to get it back at the Champions Trophy in December, but to be honest, there's not a lot of difference between finishing first and last of that tournament, to be honest, in terms of world ranking points. So I really hope the boys do the job today and win by more than 3 goals and make my job a lot easier.
Well, I think it's going to be a lot of fun watching the Kookaburras chase that win, but right here now, Australia and New Zealand settling in to the decider. And we just will follow that result in the Kookaburras game with a great deal of interest. But 0-0. We've had 6 minutes of play. Risk conditions. Australia is Georgia Nanskawan looking for a run. That's New Zealand and bring it away is Crystal Ferguson. I think one of the stories of this week, Sean, has been that certainly in the women's game in the Australian team, there's a group of players with 100 plus games to their name. Megan Rivers, as I mentioned, Madonna Blythe, Casey Eastlake and Kobe McGurk, and then there's a group of youngsters, and you just get the feeling that they're getting to know each other, and there's a nice feeling of excitement around the group. Georgia Nanskawan, she's been really good. She went a bit quiet yesterday for a period of time, but towards the end she was really lively and looks to be a player. She's got a bit of presence about her that I think we're going to see a fair bit of in years to come.
Yeah, certainly. As we've mentioned a couple of times throughout the broadcast, she was identified really young. Is the 3rd youngest Hockeyroos of all time, debuting a couple of days after her 17th birthday. So she was identified for a reason. She's a very talented player, and absolutely rapt that to see her play so well at this tournament in 2 games so far. Spoke to her after the game yesterday. A little bit disappointed she didn't put some of those goals away, that sort of half chances. But I think her tournament today has been fantastic, along with a couple other girls. Emily Smith, who we've mentioned as well, scored her first goal of international hockey and has played really well in her 2 games. So I'm happy to see her back out there again, and I'd like to see another couple of goals between those 2 today.
The game so far, there's been nothing in it. Sides just sort of feeling their way early, and just a sort of a tense situation here with so little between these teams. There's a player that I've really liked watching this week, Anita Punt of New Zealand. Such a lively player. I reckon she's just about the quickest player on the field today. She's been a player that's been good to watch. She's got a bit of experience. She's played 63 games at the age of 23. And the Blacksticks now have just done themselves a penalty corner early. So just a bit of work to do now for Rachel Lynch and her defensive battery. Penalty corner coming up for New Zealand. 0-0 is the score. Australia lead the series 1-0. Game 3. Shot on goal is deflected in. That's a goal to New Zealand. And let's get a fix on the player. Is it a Anita punt? That was a... Or is it... just get a fix there on the player for you. Sam Harrison. Sam Harrison, yeah, that's the second goal of the series. And after a strike there from Alana Millington, Harrison gets a goal on the board after 8 minutes. So that shakes things up. Sean? It was the shot from Millington initially, and the ball fell into the path of the live wire Sam Harrison, the 20-year-old. Another one of these young players with an amazing amount of games to her credit, 60 games. And New Zealand have got the opening goal. Well, it's now technically, Sean, all square. What do you make of it?
Yeah, I've been really impressed with New Zealand's penalty corners, both from their men and women. They've been really efficient. And yeah, I mean, it's just so crucial when you get those chances that you take them. They don't come along very often. So obviously, disappointing start for our girls. And yeah, I guess it's all square at the moment. If New Zealand win by 1 goal, goes to extra time. So I'd like to see our girls get one back and hopefully come away with a win.
So if scores are level, Sean, we have extra time?
No, if scores are level, Australia win the series. If New Zealand win by 1 goal, we go to extra time. So there's a couple of different scenarios today, so we'll just have to wait and see what happens.
I meant if scores are level over the 3 games. There's Kayla Sharland, 139 veteran for New Zealand, 139 game veteran. It's over the sideline now. Crystal Ferguson. She's been good too. Anna Flanagan for Australia. She has been one of Australia's best over this series, Flanagan. She scored goals, she saved goals. Polished player. And New Zealand continue to build up. So a goal on the board early for the Blacksticks. New Zealand into attack. Just goes past the right-hand post there. Well, 1-0. This series has fluctuated one way, then the other. There was an engrossing final 20 minutes on Thursday night in the pouring rain when Australia and New Zealand were engaged in battle, and New Zealand threw everything at Australia, and I think only Rachel Lynch's inspired work in the goal saved Australia from conceding a late equalising goal there. And yesterday the Hockeyroos had to come back from 1-3 down at half-time to make sure that they kept themselves without losing a match in this series. So there's been drama all the way through, and the games have fluctuated. And I guess you'd expect that from teams that are ranked, with teams that are ranked so closely together in the world. Kayla Sharland. I like the way she's played through the week. Clarissa Eshuss. I have to say, it's been all New Zealand so far in the opening 10 minutes. They really have just dominated the territory, and Australia have barely mounted an attack. I wonder why that might be, Sean.
Yeah, I think they're a little bit upset with the way they played yesterday, and upset that they didn't head on for the win after being 3 goals to 1 up. You'd like to think that you'd win it. So they've certainly come out pretty strong, similar to the first game. Similar to all games so far. There's been one side start really strong and they've scored early. So the other team usually finds a way to come back. So hopefully that happens with Australia here.
New Zealand, once again, they've had 80%, I reckon more, of territory in this opening phase. And sooner or later, if you dominate territory in such a way, the chances are going to come. Of course they are. There's Georgia Nanskaran doing some of the hard work in defence. And Australia just settling down here a bit. Still it goes over the sideline, and the Blacksticks press forward. New Zealand again. There is Ferguson. Nice play there by the Australian defence. Ferguson again. And here is Sam Harrison, the goal scorer. It is the case that there's a lot of these New Zealanders with the ponytails and the blonde hair bobbing around the goal square. There's no shortage of them. But they're all really good players, and Harrison's certainly one of them. And they still press forward in attack. Australia have had to withstand a lot in this opening quarter of an hour. And New Zealand really playing well and controlling territory and possession. And for their efforts, after 30 minutes, they've got a goal on the board to their name. I reckon this is going to be a really tight game. I really do. Here's New Zealand again. There is Ferguson. Ferguson into the D. Still going Ferguson over the baseline. One of their key strikers, Crystal Ferguson. And Australia steel themselves for another attack. Katie Glynn. Ferguson on the reverse stick. It goes right of the post. And the score stands at 1-0. I've talked about the conditions a fair bit. Now there's a really solid breeze coming in from the south. And that's not a warm breeze. So that's going to keep the temperatures right down. But it may yet blow the clouds away, and we may yet not get too much of the rain. Now there's a chance here for Australia. Penalty corner here, and that's come against the run of play, Sean.
Yeah, it has. Interesting to see who they go with. Anna Flanagan, who's had the hot stick in this tournament, is off on the bench. So I suspect they go with Jodie Schultz, who hasn't scored a goal yet this tournament. Very powerful player. Really, for her confidence and for the team's confidence, it'd be great to see her put one in the back of the net here.
So a penalty corner for Australia. Down 1-0 in the opening game of the series. Standing over the ball is Casey Eastham. She was superb yesterday in scoring Australia's second goal. And here we go. Nice flick of the ball, and it's in the net, back of the net by Jodie Schultz. Thank you very much. Well taken by Australia. That's a nice one, Sean. 15 minutes. Eastham to Schultz. 1-1.
It's great to see Jodie Schultz go high in the net there. Her first two games, she was sort of going in the same direction, low. So it's good to see her change it up and caught the keeper off guard. And yeah, it's a goal against play, to be honest. New Zealand have completely dominated this game, and Aussies are probably lucky not to have conceded another 1 or 2 goals. Interestingly, they've got Rachel Lynch back in the goals for today. She's played every game here, so not great for Tony Cronk, the other goalkeeper. But yeah, Rachel's had a pretty good tournament, so justifying giving her another game.
1-1. Well, Casey Eastham, what a specialist she is in the penalty corner situation, and very nicely taken goal there by Jodie Schultz. So it's 1-1, and Australia doing very nicely now. And we've had a most dramatic opening to the game. We've had 16 minutes of play, and the score is 1-1. After 8 minutes, Sam Harrison of New Zealand, a lively striker, put away a goal after a penalty corner was taken, and taken very well with a strong shot on goal by Alana Millington. So New Zealand then led 1-0. And just a moment ago, the Australian striker Jodie Schultz, the Australian defender Jodie Schultz, scored an excellent goal once again from a penalty corner after an expertly taken corner by Casey Eastham, the penalty corner specialist. So it's now 1-1. Australia leads the series by 1-0, and New Zealand, after that promising start where they dominated the territory and possession, have conceded a goal. That penalty corner was just about Australia's first meaningful attacking raid, and they converted it well with a goal. So it's 1-1 after going down a goal early, and the Australians are now looking much more lively. And this series, the way it's gone over the last week or so, Simone, could go either way. There's nothing between these teams. New Zealand ranked number 6 in the world, Australia number 7. And on the showing of the games we've seen since Wednesday or Thursday night, this one could go right down to the wire. Very brisk, very chilly. There's a stiff southerly breeze blowing, and the hockey is very intense. And the scoreline reads 1-1 between Australia and New Zealand in Game 3 of the Oceania Cup. So, Sean, what do you make of the game now?
Yeah, it's great to see the Aussies get a bit more possession. Absolutely under the pump early days, and it's a credit to the defence that they're able to hold out. The defence is probably our strongest asset of the game, to be honest. We have some world-class players. Jade Taylor, who we just saw then, Kobe McGurk, very good goalkeeping from Rachel Lynch. So, the goals is where we struggle, and the fact that we've had some pretty big scores, 2 goals in the first game, 3 goals in the second game, and 1 early, shows that we're addressing that area. And if we can get that part right, improve our skills, which is what's been happening, I think that we can really make some inroads before London.
Yeah. Casey Easton's role in the Australian team, Sean, as we go ahead now, the green and goals looking a bit better. They've settled. And another penalty corner, and the crowd enjoys that. Let's talk about Casey Easton's importance to the Australian team.
It's crucial. She's a former Junior World Player of the Year, been touted for a long time to have the ability to one day be the best player in the world. So absolutely crucial. Midfielder, very good skills. Has been in the squad for quite a while. She debuted as a 17-year-old, was actually the youngest member of the Beijing Olympic side at 19. Played very, very well, and now she has a completely different role. Now she's one of the more senior players, which is amazing when you think she's only 22. So she's absolutely one of the key parts of our side, and if we get her up and running at London, we're going to be a big chance. She's going to be a big part of it.
Penalty corner number 2 for Australia. It's Casey Easton over the ball. So Jodie Schultz, the 24-year-old defender, gets the goal that equalises for Australia. Here's Anna Flanagan, and it's wide and left. She's a good option at the penalty corner situation.
Yeah, very good. I mean, great to see her try and change it up and not actually go for the shot there and try to give it back to Casey, who just couldn't get the deflection on it. So it's absolutely fantastic to have 2 world-class flickers in both Flanagan and Schultz. It just makes such a big difference because there's so many more options, and that's one area that we struggled with for quite a while. So now we have 2 very young, good players in that area who are also good defenders as well, which is makes life easier as well. Jade
Taylor now kicked away by the New Zealand keeper Sally Rutherford. That was a good play by Taylor, an excellent strike, and someone's copped the ball in the face there. It's Claire Messant. That didn't look too nice, and she's jogging off for a bit of treatment. Yeah, she copped the hockey ball in the face there. I don't fancy that on a cold Sunday afternoon, and she'll go off for some treatment. We saw Madonna Blythe leave the field late in the game on Thursday night, and that her absence from the Australian team really, I think, told. And I think Australia did very well to hang on in that game and secure the result. So just a little delay here, and the teams form into huddles. We've had 21 minutes so far, and we've got 1 goal each on the board. Now the game situation is, or the series situation is, that Australia won the first match 2-1. It was a 3-3 draw yesterday, so a draw today will be enough for Australia. If New Zealand win by 1 goal, well, it'll be extra time. So certainly the odds are in Australia's favour, as they are in New Zealand's favour, very much in the men's game. I'm just pondering, Sean. I guess you let bygones be bygones, but I'm pretty sure that this week of hockey has been wouldn't have been better than this if Fiji had been here in a 3-corner contest.
No, I think you're right, and I think as much as it would have been good to have Fiji here, it's from a high performance point of view, you're better off playing a quality team as often as you can. So, and New Zealand have proven this week they're a quality team. So we're just seeing Kelly White go down. I think there's a bit of a head clash there. Kayla Shalin, the New Zealand skipper, looks pretty woozy as well. So hopefully Kelly's okay.
It's pretty torrid stuff out there. There's players going down. It's very willing. So, no. Well, things just settling down here. 22-minute mark of the first half. It's 1-1. Kayla Shyland flicks it forward. It goes there for Crystal Ferguson. Always a presence for the Blacksticks. Always. She's always got something going on. Very good player, actually. Very experienced. And the New Zealanders through Lucy Talbot now. There's Shyland. Fiona Boyce. Shyland. Shyland going forward across the face of goal. It's with Emily Naylor. Naylor. It goes into the D. It's still alive. And there's a shot at goal. It's put away there by Kayla Shyland. What happened there, Sean Anderson? Everyone went to sleep. I guess the first thing you learn is you play the whistle. The Australians stopped. The ball fell to Kayla Shyland. She couldn't believe her good fortune. And a really strong left-handed strike puts the New Zealanders back in the lead.
No, you've called that perfectly. Everyone stopped and waiting for the umpire's whistle that never came. So caught napping there, and Kayla Shyland was given an absolute gift. But in saying that, it's very well taken. So yeah, they're back in front. They probably deserve to be in front. They've played their better hockey at this stage. But yes, the girls responded once before, and I think they're capable of doing it again.
That's amazing. I don't know what the general feeling was, but everyone just paused, and the ball bobbed around about 6 metres from the goal, right in front. And Shyland said, I'll have a crack at this, and struck it so sweetly. And Australia is now another goal down. Well, we saw in the men's game yesterday that the Australians 3 times took the lead and 3 times conceded the equaliser. Maybe we'll see a similar pattern in this women's game here this afternoon. So 2 goals to 1. Oh, I was amazed by that. I just assumed that the players knew more about the situation and they were just going to wait for the game to restart. But no, not at all. The only player that's seen it on the ball then was Kayla Shyland herself. She showed very good composure, actually. Here's New Zealand moving forward. That's a good run there for the Blacksticks. That's Stacey Mickelson. So, 25-minute mark. First half. Mickelson. Katie Glynn, dangerous player. Into Ferguson. New Zealand playing well here. And the Hockeyroos just having to work their way out of defence. Glynn, Ferguson, Shyland have been good for New Zealand. Australia have had plenty of good players too, don't worry about that. Anna Flanagan's been one of them. Sam Harrison, the goal scorer, one of them. Into the path of Charlotte Harrison. And it is Madonna Blythe up to Jade Close. Megan Rivers. Rivers still going. And it's another opportunity here for Australia to push forward. So Anna Flanagan, tall defender, lobs the ball into the path of Jade Taylor. Jade Taylor drives it forward. And the Australians just trying to build attack, but it just seems to be that New Zealand is really controlling the tempo and certainly the key indicators in the game in terms of territory defence. Katie Glynn, skilled player. That's a great ball from Glynn. Lovely pass. And I think the player in question there for New Zealand, Anna Thorpe, didn't quite do it justice. But Glynn, every time she's on the ball, just seems to make something happen for these Blacksticks. What sort of role is she playing in the game, Sean? Katie Glynn.
She's just a focal point from up forward, isn't she? they go through her as much as possible, and there's a good reason for that because she's very skillful. And if she gets the ball anywhere in the circle, she's probably going to score. She's had a pretty good tournament to date. And as I said yesterday, the Aussie girls will know her pretty well, given that she played in the Australian Hockey League this year, so they're very aware of her capabilities. Listen, I think I think our skills have been quite good. I just don't know if we can get enough of the ball or as much of the ball as what New Zealand's had. So just a couple of minor tweaks. Obviously, the next goal is crucial. If they go up by 2 goals, we proved yesterday we can come back, but you don't want to put yourself in that situation 2 days in a row. So very important that we get the next goal and level it up again.
Well, bearing down on the halftime break of the third game in a best-of-3 series, the goal scored a level, and that tells you the story, doesn't it? But Katie Glenn's been good. But Australia have had lots of good players as well. And just on the time ahead for these teams, Sean, we've discussed this a couple of times during the week, but as Australia go into attack once more, Ferguson down the open wing. And that's going to go all the way over the baseline. These sides are not going to see much more of each other between now and London.
No, certainly not. They're going to be playing in the same pool, so I don't think they'll be wanting to show each other their tricks too much before now in London. They know each other pretty well anyway. The Hockeyroos have got a pretty busy period coming up. They're going to be playing at the Lanco International Super Series, so I'm going to give a free plug to that. It's absolutely crucial, that tournament, from a promotional point of view. It's a new tournament that Hockey Australia has created. It's got new rules, 9 players aside, shorter halves, 1 player must remain in the forward half. The goal's going to be 1 metre wider, and it's going to be broadcast live on ABC, which is absolutely sensational. It's really great to have it's support of a free-to-air TV station. Also, Fox Sports are going to be showing the matches delayed. So I couldn't tell you the last time we were on free-to-air TV. So it's absolutely crucial that everyone out there listening watches and encourages friends to watch, because if it goes well and rates highly, there's opportunity to do more tournaments in the future. So equally with this, it's important that we get people watching this stuff as well, so we can keep on bringing more broadcast. The more people who watch it, the more chance we have to do this kind of stuff. So thanks for everyone's support, and make sure you watch the Lanco International Super Series in October.
Yeah, well, I think one of the things that hockey has got in its favour, Katie Glynn for New Zealand, there's Georgia Nanscarwin. I love watching her. She's so busy, so electric, and she controlled the ball nicely there, but didn't quite time the run as well as she would have liked. Emily Smith, is that both these teams, the men's and women's hockey teams, in their own way, have got a great brand and a great heritage. We've talked a bit about the Hockeyroos achievements through really from 1988 through to the year 2000, when the team won 3 out of 4 Olympic gold medals. That's a stunning record, and in that time the brand really established itself. And the men's team is always good value. They sometimes are a bit of a heartbreaker, but in terms of their consciousness in the Australian sporting public, the hockey teams don't struggle for that. I guess perhaps the visibility outside of the major games is something of a problem. But with the build-up to Olympic Games, that's when the game really does start to come to the fore. And I think people who know sport, follow sport in Australia, have got to take a genuine interest in the men's and women's hockey teams.
No, I certainly agree with that. I think both have very strong brands, both very different brands. The Kookaburras just been an absolute powerhouse and a very successful team, so they're known for winning. And the Hockeyroos, they have a mystique from the glory days, and people still identify and sometimes unfairly judge this current group against that group because they're just 2 different eras. So no, they do have strong brands, and as you mentioned, our challenge is to get coverage outside of the major events. I don't think you can shy away from that. You need to leverage those events as much as possible. That's what we're doing here. This tournament has repercussions for the Olympics. The Champions Trophy has repercussions for the Olympics. So they are really important tournaments for us from a high performance point of view, but also from a marketing point of view. So I think that stuff like we're doing today with this broadcast is going to help get some more visibility for the teams. And our aim is that by the time the teams get to London, the general fans know who they are. We often hear that we love watching the teams play and rah rah rah. We want people to know who the teams are by the time they get to London, not to just get to London and take an interest. So that's our challenge, and it's going to be a really big 10 months for both teams in that regard.
I was just thinking about those glory days, Sean. We were having a chat about it the other day. The score here, by the way, still 2-1 to New Zealand, and we're getting pretty close to a half-time break. There's Georgia Nanskawan trapping the ball and just timing a pass there for Ashley Nelson, but good defensive play by New Zealand. Keeps them at bay. There's Katie Glynn. But her pass there straight into the path of the Australian play. Now Megan Rivers has got the ball. Nanskawan. And it's over the sideline. Just thinking about those glory days. Nova Peris. She was another player as part of that team that won in Atlanta. And one of many great players from that time. It's quite a long time ago now. Here's Australia now. Wouldn't they love to get an equaliser? Right on the half-time break. That ball was hit from outside the 23-yard line and it ran harmlessly into the goals. Sunshine here in Hobart. That's good to see. You'll find at this time of the year with the cold air, very cold air, and the clouds and whatnot. But when the sun does break through, it's a very strong sun, so you can get sunburn in this sort of weather. You've got to wear a hat. It takes a bit of while to get used to this kind of climate, but that sun out there is actually quite strong. And you can sit out there in the freezing cold and come away sunburned. Because we are so far south. Now here's Anna Flanagan just tipping it away to a teammate there in Megan Rivers. Flanagan to Jodie Schultz. Schultz wide and right. Yes. And when is that series, Sean?
Yeah, it's held in Perth from October 20 to 23rd. So it's something that we're really excited about. It's been about a year and a half in the making, so put a lot of effort into it. The tagline is hockey like you've never seen before, so it's going to be really exciting. By no means trying to change the game, but we just want to, I guess, showcase some of the more exciting aspects. It's going to be lots of goals, lots of open space, so it's really going to suit teams with a fit. No stick on that ball there, so no goal. Yeah, so we put a lot of work into that. Tickets are available at Ticketmaster, so definitely anyone in Perth, I encourage you to go check it out. And equally, anyone around the country, please watch it on the TV because, as I said, it's vital that we get support for these things so we can do more.
And the teams involved?
It's held in conjunction with CHOGM, so it's all Commonwealth nations. So from the women's side, they're going to be playing India and Malaysia. And from the men's side, they're playing New Zealand, Pakistan and India. So very strong focus on India. Lanco is our naming rights sponsor, actually an Indian company. And they're doing lots of great things to promote it over there as well. So it's going to be, I think it's going to be a great tournament. I think that suits Australia's game because I think we're quite fit. But it does suit India's game and Pakistan's game. They have some amazing players with individual skill. I think it's going to be sensational. So, as I said, encourage anyone to tune into ABC, or if you're in Perth, go down and watch it.
Waiting for an umpire's decision. Shiland showed great composure and great accuracy with the shot and put the ball in the net, and the goal stood, and Australia is now down by 2 goals to 1. So bearing down on half-time in the third game of a best-of-3 series, these sides are now equal in terms of goals scored for and against. Now, if this situation stands at full time, there'll be extra time. Australia can level this game and not lose it. They will win this series. Nothing in it. Australia's good. It's playing quite well. New Zealand started very well. They dominated territory and possession early on. Here's a chance here for Charlotte again for New Zealand. Australia will not want to concede another goal this close to half-time. And Australia has been pretty good through this half, but New Zealand has dominated the early stages and has 2 goals on the board. And right. Okay, it's a penalty corner coming up here for New Zealand. I am here, Simone, and let's see what happens. So it's 2-1 to New Zealand. Goals in this half so far to Sam Harrison and Kayla Shyland. And it's always a dramatic moment when one of these penalty corners is set up. Shot on goal by the Blacksticks, defended well by Rachel Lynch in the goal for Australia. The shot was taken by Clarissa S. Swiss for New Zealand, and that should be the half-time mark in this match, with New Zealand leading by 2-1. There's still a bit more time to come, but Australia has repelled that penalty corner, so New Zealand leads now still by 2-1. And Australia and New Zealand at the halfway mark of the third game of a best-of-3 series are stuck level on goals scored for and against. Australia moving forward now with the blonde-haired form of Casey Eastham, taking it forward. 2-1. That was an anxious moment for Australia, conceding the penalty corner so late in the term. And New Zealand on the breakout here. There is Kelly White. Overrunning the ball there is the New Zealand defender. So, what drama? Who knows what this final half is going to hold in store? Jodie Schultz. Stacia Joseph. Jodie Schultz. Long range shot from Schultz. Diving into the box there is, for Australia, was Kelly White. It's still alive and they put it away. Claire Messon. A goal here for hockey. Claire Messon has put one away for Australia. Well, that is quite dramatic. Sean Anderson.
Absolutely wrapped with that goal. It was a lot of poise shown by the skipper, Madonna Blythe. She had the ball with a lot of space, and a lesser player might have had a go at it there, but she had the composure and saw that she had Messon alone next to the goals and delivered it as well, deflected. So absolutely crucial, that goal. That draw really gives us a great chance to go on and at least hold on and win this championship and get some world ranking points. And not only that, but a lot of confidence going into London.
Sean, goals to Sam Harrison after 8 minutes and Kayla Shyland after 24 minutes for the Blacksticks for Australia. It was Jade Schultz after 15 and Claire Messon, who had to leave the field after copping a ball in the face, scoring right on the siren of half-time. 2-2, it's advantage Australia. State Hockey Centre in Hobart. What a series it's been. It'll be New Zealand running towards the Cornelian Bay end of the ground. Very chilly here, stiff, cold wind blowing in from the south. That's not going to change through the day, I don't think. And let's get underway. Australia got a crucial equaliser late through Claire Messon. And New Zealand now have got to, in a sense, have to chase the game. And despite, I think, being having the better of territory and possession through the course of the first half, they've still got just a 2-2 scoreline to contemplate. This will be something pretty special, I think, this half of hockey. And Australia get the ball there through Kobe McGurk. And this is going to be a lot of fun, seeing how this pans out. Jade Taylor. With the ball. So the goals in the first half to Australia to Claire Messon on 35 minutes and Jade Schultz on 15 minutes. Sam Harrison and Kayla Shyland scored the 2 goals for New Zealand. Kayla Shyland. Oh, nice play by Shyland. Katie Glynn moving nicely. Good play by the highly skilled New Zealander. And Australia's defence now having to really work over time. Moving the ball forward is Ashley Nelson. Just a bit too much weight on it there, and Claire Messon, despite her terrific goal right on half time, couldn't get close to that one. Just a stride or two away. So here's New Zealand with possession. Shilan, it ricochets off her stick to Megan Rivers, and in a way that in the first half New Zealand had the better of the early stages, Australia seems to be starting in a very bright manner here. As the ball rolls over the sideline. So repeating that if Australia maintain this scoreline, or in fact finish the game on level terms with New Zealand, they'll win the series. If New Zealand gets ahead by 1 goal, there'll be extra time. So it's really tight. Stacey Mickelson. Casey Easton. For New Zealand, there is a good attack there. Katie Glynn once again prominent. Looking for Sam Harrison, and she shows a little bit of frustration there. Charlotte Harrison it was. And Charlotte Harrison was slightly annoyed there with Katie Glynn's delivery. Very cold here. Just wondering, we'll see plenty of energy in the players through to the end of the contest. Katie Glynn now with a little foul to play with, just outside the 23-yard circle. It, goes here to Madonna Blythe. Megan Rivers. Falls there to Emily Naylor. Back here to Megan Rivers. So, ball just on the halfway line. And a nice lobbed pass by Jade Taylor. And Australia move into attack here. What's going to happen now? Katie Glynn. Glynn moving down the grandstand sideline. Nice defensive work there by Jade Taylor, and it couldn't quite break there for Claire Messent. He's having a very busy time. Stacey Mickelson. Sean Anderson's just been out honouring his commitments to Hockey Australia. And Sean, just how are the conditions out there?
Absolutely freezing. You might be able to tell I've got a bit of a blocked nose, and it's certainly not being helped today. No, it's very, very cold, and I do feel for the girls being out there at the moment. But yeah, I was just on the phone trying to sort out the stuff with the men's situation, and it does look likely if they don't win this tournament, they would lose the number 1 ranking, which is pretty crucial given that the pool allocation happens January 1, so it's still not 120% confirmed, but that looks like the most likely situation. So my comment back to the manager was that, well, we'll just have to win by more than 3 goals and don't have to worry about it, so we'll wait and see.
That's quite significant. For how long has Australia held that number 1 ranking?
I think they regained it back at the 2009 Champions Trophy. Germany won, of course, the Olympics in 08, so we went into that tournament as a number 1 ranked team. Germany obviously jumped us again when they won the Olympics. You get a significant boost by winning the Olympic Games, as you should. We retook it, I think, at the 09 Champions Trophy, definitely by the 2010 World Cup, which is February 2010. So we've held it for quite a while. But you know that's the way that the rankings work, and they're really well weighted in these Oceania events, and it just shows how important these events are, and this is why we're taking it so seriously.
What would be the implications for Australia if it was to drop down to number 2 in the world rankings?
Well, they'd still have a chance to become number 1 because the 2000 11 Champions trophies being played in December. But to be honest, there's very little point difference between finishing first and last. So, yeah, it's as I said, the basic situation is we just need to win today. And yeah, and sorry, I just reading a message. Still trying to confirm it. Yeah, so the point is, if we just need to win by three goals, sorry, more than 3 goals today, and we don't have to worry about it, and it makes my job a lot easier. So I'll certainly be cheering very hard for them.
Okay, so it looks as if Australia's in danger of losing its number 1 ranking today. So that'll be because it's lost a series to New Zealand. Now, let's stay with the women. There's a fair bit going on up there, and the opening exchanges pretty even, as you'd expect between these teams early in the second half. Australia and New Zealand locked at 2-2. New Zealand led twice. There's Anita Punt. She was a little quiet. That's a good run by Punt. She has these weaving runs into the D. And it's repelled there by Anna Flanagan for Australia. Anita Punt goes over the base line. Well, I personally, Sean, I'm looking forward to seeing how that brilliant Australian team responds to that challenge. Wouldn't that be a statement? I'll tell you what, the New Zealanders, I'll put my hand up. Oh, that's a good pass through there by Jade Close. I reckon I've underestimated New Zealand's qualities in this weekend of hockey. They've become very well prepared. And it's almost as if, Sean, they're really building for this home Champions Trophy of theirs in December.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, they were awarded the Champions Trophy due to India having it taken off them, so they'll be keen for a number of reasons to play very well. But I guess first things first, we've got to get the Aussie girls over the line first, and there's still lots up for grabs for them as well, as I mentioned a couple of times, also from a world ranking point of view, but probably more importantly from a confidence point of view. And they'll continue to build towards London. I was just checking the people in the stands at half-time, and just the improvement that I've seen. I'll probably go back to this time last year at the World Cup, and the improvement I've seen from now to then has been quite significant. We've come back, I think, at all games. At some stage we've been down by a goal, and we've come back at every stage. So that's something that probably wasn't happening in the past, and I think it shows a lot of character.
So tell me about the situation with India, Sean. What was the situation that led New Zealand to host this Champions Trophy tournament?
Yeah, probably better be careful here. Don't want to say too much. No, listen, there's obviously just some situations with the governing bodies in India. There's 2. One's recognised by the International Hockey Federation, one's recognised by the Indian government. So it makes it very difficult, and the situation was that the FIH demanded that those 2, not demanded, that's probably not the word, that they wanted those 2 bodies to, I guess, align and have only one body, which makes sense on a number of fronts. India, they were given a deadline to do that, and it didn't happen. So FIH, I guess, called their bluff a little bit and took it off them. And New Zealand were very keen to put their hand up, given that they weren't playing the tournament. So now they get another tournament against the world's best teams before London. So it was a good coup for them.
So there's two governing bodies in India. How does that impact on their on-field performance?
I'm not too sure. As I said, it's a pretty delicate situation, so I don't want to say anything incorrect, but it's been the case for a little while. But as I said, they're definitely showing signs of improvement on and off the field. The team has improved quite a bit. As I said, we're pretty keen, I guess, to engage them, and we're doing so at the Lanco International Super Series. So, it's going to be great to have them play in Australia. We played them in the final of the Commonwealth Games last year in front of their home crowd. So hopefully we can return the favour and have a vocal home crowd for our guys this time.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to spend 2 weeks in India last year at the Commonwealth Games, and somewhat regrettably, I didn't manage to get out to the hockey stadium. Oh! And there was a shot from Claire Messon. That was a lovely strike there by Messon. She's having a really good game. Despite, it's almost like that blow to the cricket ball to the hockey ball to the head. It's taken her to a new level. She's played extremely well since returning to the field. But I must admit, I didn't get out to the hockey stadium, and I wish I had in hindsight, just to see the fervour the Indians have for the game.
Well, I actually felt pretty crook over there, so I didn't get to see too much of it either. I saw a lot of it at training, but no, the stadium over there is sensational. It fits far more people than any stadium in Australia could fit, and they absolutely love their hockey over there. And as I said, the fact that their national team's getting stronger and stronger means that hockey's getting more and more popular over there, and I can attest to that, given of how much interest I've had over the Lanco International Super Series. So it's great to have them, I guess, getting back to becoming a decent team and someone who we enjoy playing.
Could you see them? Let's keep with the women's game here, of course. It goes over the baseline. Just wrapping up the India thing. Could you see them becoming a real force now in international hockey if they can get things together off the field?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, they've just got a lot of natural ability and a lot of players who just have individual brilliance. So if they can combine that with a good program, I'm not sure if they'll ever be in a position to have a program like ours, which I think is obviously one of the best in the world. So they're a disadvantage there, but they just live and breathe hockey over there, and you can see when they do become more competitive on the pitch, and there's obviously a lot more interest from the media and the fans. So if they ever do get back to that level, I mean, I think they won, 6-7 gold medals in a row. I'm not sure if anyone will get to that stage, but if they can get close to that, then look out, they'll go absolutely bonkers for it.
It is an interesting subject. It's an interesting place too, that's for sure. A country with an enormous hockey heritage. Let's stick with the action on the field here now. Australia and New Zealand, we've gone 12 minutes in the second half, and it's still 2-2. Advantage Australia. And in the 20 minutes remaining, this is going to be very interesting. There's Charlotte Harrison across the face of goal, looking for a stick on ball, anything. It was a good play there by Harrison. But Australia's defensive numbers were good. Katie Glynn. While she's in the action, Australia will never be safe. As we go up the field here through Emily Smith. Oh, nice run by the diminutive Smith. Still going. Good pace from Smith. Oh, that's a terrific run. Lovely to watch. And strong defensive play there by the Blacksticks as Australia go forward. Now, New Zealand certainly can't afford to concede one here. We've been saying this all the way through. So-and-so can't afford to concede. But really, New Zealand, if they go a goal down here, are going to have to come from a fair way behind to stay alive in the series. Here's Australia. It is Megan Rivers, Georgia Nanscarwin. Nice ball control, Nanscarwin. She's been heavily marked by Australians. Here's the New Zealanders. There's Megan Rivers. Shot on goal. Patted away by Sally Rutherford, the Blacksticks keeper. Nanscarwin to Joseph. Ella Gunson. Katie Glynn. It is Charlotte Harrison. Charlotte and Sam Harrison. Charlotte, the older of the two. Goes over the sideline. 15-minute mark of the second term. 20 minutes to go. It's 2-2. Goals to Jade Schultz and Claire Messent in the first half to Australia. Messent equalising right on half-time. Sam Harrison and Kayla Shyland scoring the goals for New Zealand in that half. Well, the weather's not too bad right now, or the conditions aren't too bad. Whenever the sun breaks through, it's all right. There's a biting breeze. It's flying down the valley. And let's watch Australia here. There's Madonna Blythe. What a silky player she is. Ferguson's got the ball, though. Ferguson for New Zealand into the D. Good defensive play there by Madonna Blythe. And also Stacey at Joseph. And New Zealand build up here. There's Anita Punt. Didn't take it cleanly first time. And New Zealand still press forward. There's a good little phase here for New Zealand. Sophie Devine finds Stacey Mickelson. But Australia playing with a lot of poise at the back, Sean.
And they have to, as similar to the first half, they've certainly been put under the pump, and that was great play from Casey Easton there. That shows why she's one of the best players in the world. Her skills are very good. So, it's been an interesting start to this half. Hasn't been a lot of chances for either team. So if the score stays as is, the Aussies go through. So obviously we're trying to find a couple more goals. We can, win and put a decent margin between us. That's great as well. But the priority obviously is just to get those world ranking points, but also put in a good performance and build our confidence.
New Zealand, Stacey Mickelson. Nice defence though by Australia. Emily Smith. Jade Taylor. Casey Easton. Across the field it goes. And a nice run there by Kelly White. Australia moving with a lot of intent here. They had to absorb a lot early in the game. But since then they've really started to sort of open up, and certainly at the very least are on terms with New Zealand here. Certainly on the scoreboard they are, but they seem to be playing with a better tempo. Here's the skilled Katie Glynn. That's a lovely play again from her. Into the D. That's a lovely pass. Gee, she's a good player. Some of the other players maybe have look like they might have might be slightly quicker across the field, and Glynn just seems to have a knack of being in the right position. An uncanny sort of mover. There she is again. Every time she's on the ball, it looks like something's going to happen. Katie Glynn, she's only 22 years of age. Really could be one of the world's premier players if she continues at this rate to improve. Now there's Ella Gunson losing the ball for New Zealand. And Australia surge forward. 18 minutes gone. 17 to go. And it's across the face of goal. A strike of the ball there by Ashley Nelson. And Sean?
Now Claire Messett there in the right spot again. She's having a really good game. It'd be great to see her score another goal. It'd be great for her confidence, and obviously great for the team.
Here you go, New Zealand. It's Anita Punt. Another one of these surging runs. Can she get a cross in? But very good defence there from Australia. Anna Flanagan was there as well, but a lovely trademark run by Anita Punt down the grandstand sideline. That really has been a feature of this series. So much to take away from this. Georgia Nanscan. The ball taken off her by Kayla Shyland. So, goes over the sideline there. Jade close for Australia. This could go either way, this game in this series. Sally Rutherford pats it away, but only as far as Megan Rivers. Two all, Australia v New Zealand. This result, if it stands, will be enough for Australia to win the series. Just. If New Zealand score again and they can hold that advantage, it'll go to extra time. If they win by more than two, they'll win the series. Here come the Blacksticks. Crossing to the midfield. Picked up by Jade Taylor. There's Claire Messett again, head bandaged. She's been fantastic. Here we go now down the open side with Stacey Mickelson. Katie Glynn's there. Look at those skills. Lovely run by Glynn. Look at that. It's a beautiful stick work, but it takes three defenders to keep her quiet. And even then she draws the foul. Madonna Blythe there just remonstrating with the umpire. Kyla Shyland over the ball for the Blacksticks. And we'll see Australia now move it away out of the danger area through Georgia Nanscan. It's to Crystal Ferguson. Ferguson into the D. Good play by Ferguson. And Anna Flanagan had to be right on her game there to repel that attack. And the Blacksticks earn a penalty corner. So 2-2. And the penalty corner coming up here for the New Zealand Blacksticks. Always good theatre at these penalty corners. Ferguson's there. Emily Naylor as well. Katie Glynn, always a danger, as is Kayla Shilan, very dangerous in the D. And they didn't trap it in that time. Naylor made a bit of a mess of it. Shilan off the back foot strikes into the area. It goes again. It's clear. Players everywhere. And we'll see another penalty corner. That was very dangerous for Australia. Initially, Emily Naylor didn't trap the ball cleanly, but Shilan had a strong blow, almost like a cricket player, off the back foot, and it went deep into the D, and the ball was dangerously loose there for a while for Australia, but they survived. Here's another penalty corner. And Shilan again, 1-2, and it's in the back of the net. And New Zealand has scored another goal. Just try and get a name of the goal scorer there. But they put it away. And the 23-minute mark of the second half, S-Swiss has scored. And that is not good news for Australia. At the 12-minute mark. 12-minute mark to go. New Zealand now have got their tails up. What is left in this series of matches? Who knows where it'll go from here? It's now 3-2 to New Zealand. Claire Hess-Swiss, after a penalty corner for the Blacksticks. Claire S-Swiss. 3-2. Well, what next? Stacey Mickelson with the ball for the Blacksticks. Claire S-Swiss. 10 minutes to go. Are we headed for extra time? (3-2) the score. New Zealand's way. 3 times they've taken the lead. 3 times Australia has had to contemplate coming back from behind. But don't forget, in the men's game yesterday, exactly the same thing happened. Very tight competition. Ten minutes to go. There's Anita punt. Down the grandstand wing. It falls to Anna Flanagan. Katie Glynn is there. And the New Zealanders looking dangerous. Maybe finishing the stronger. Australia, New Zealand, the Oceania Cup, Game 3. Well, there's some drama here with New Zealand now have taken the lead. It leads 3 goals to 2. Just a moment ago, the New Zealand player Claire S-Swiss scored from a penalty corner. So with less than 10 minutes to go now, just 9.5 minutes to go, if this scoreline stands, we'll go to extra time. We're locked at 7 goals each over the course of the best part of 3 matches. And it's anyone's trophy here in Hobart. Very cold conditions. These sides are ranked 7 in terms of Australia and 6 for New Zealand, respectively. There's nothing between them. I think the scoreline after these 3 matches reflects that. Just a few minutes to go, and it's knocked it 3 goals to 2, New Zealand's way in terms of the scoreline today, and it's 7 goals apiece over the course of the series. So this is going to be a most interesting close to the match. Australia has now got to come behind for the 3rd time. They've done it twice so far today. If they can do it for a 3rd time, they may yet set up the series good. But at the moment, New Zealand leading 3 goals to 2 after a goal to clear a Swiss from a penalty corner at the 23-minute mark of the second half.
Sorry, Peter, to run out for another interview, and I see that New Zealand have put one away, so maybe I should stay in the box more often. The same thing happened yesterday in the men's game. I went to do some more work, and New Zealand hit back. So, yeah, there's 10 minutes to go. Interesting. If it does get extra time, what will happen? I think that the Aussies will back our fitness. That's something that we've really been working on. But in saying that, New Zealand have been pretty good today, so they might have a bit of momentum. So I'm hoping it doesn't get extra time. I hope there's another goal for our girls and we can win the tournament.
What'll be the format, Sean? What time allotments will there be in the extra time?
Stand to be corrected, but I believe there'll be 2 halves of 7.5 minutes each way, and golden goal. That's the usual thing. And if we still don't have a winner by then, we'll go to strokes. So, as I said, sorry, just being pointed out by Tony Cronk, who's up here in the box. It won't be penalty strokes. It'll be a one-on-one shootout between player and goalkeeper, which is something that we're going to be doing at the Lanco International Super Series as well. So that, I think that's a good thing. I think it creates a bit more excitement. I'm not sure how the players feel about it, but from a spectator point of view, I think it's good.
So golden goal. So 15 minutes of extra time, 7.5 each way. First goal wins. And then one-on-ones. What's wrong with just a stroke situation? That's pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's exciting enough. I think they're just trying something new. Yeah, just seeing how it works. I for one, I like it. I've seen both teams practice it during the week. I think it's a bit more exciting. I'm not sure how to. And Tony Cronk, the goalkeeper, is shaking her, nodding her head as well, saying she likes it. So it must be good for the goalkeepers. Strokes are great, but I do think it's more chance to show off a bit of skill if it's a one-on-one showdown.
Well, soccer have tried a few things, haven't they? But they haven't never really been able to move on from the old shootout. Let's stick with this now. 29-minute mark of the second half. Georgia Nanscan. So 3-2 to New Zealand. And it's across the sideline. Well, Kayla Shyland. New Zealand now looking good. Stacey Mickelson with some space across the goal. That's Katie Glynn. That is a beautifully worked goal there for New Zealand. And a goal in the hockey. Katie Glynn. After a Mickelson pass. And that's not good news for Australia. That was a very well worked goal. As good as we've seen over the weekend, Sean Anderson.
Yeah, certainly. Very well executed. Absolute disaster for our girls. We're going to have to really pull something out here and try and bring it back and force to extra time. There still is a bit of time left, so I'll still back the girls in, but they want to get a move on.
Well, it was Katie Glynn who we've talked up through the course of this series consistently, and she didn't quite have a range on Thursday night when she had some excellent opportunities, but on that occasion, just a lovely bit of work lead up there from Mickelson, and McGlynn was just in the right spot in the Australian defence, and on that occasion just had no hope. So it's 4-2 New Zealand, and that means Australia now has to get on the scoreboard pretty quickly here, and time is not their friend. So that means New Zealand is now up 8 goals to 7 in the series. So Australia needs to score to stay alive. That might be a problem for them. So 2 goals. 5 minutes off for one of the Harrisons, Sam Harrison. New Zealand and Australia. Flanagan, Nanscan. What can the dynamic forward do? Nanscan. Flanagan. Playing very well through the course of these 3 matches. Now, New Zealand control the ball. Anita punt. Another run. Another searching run. Territory. And all these long runs now are going to take up time. Flanagan. Australia. It's a good run. Very good run. Jade close. Emily Naylor. Ella Gunson. Time not on Australia's side. 4-2 to New Zealand. Lobbed ball to Katie Glynn. And Australia now into the D. That's just wide off the stick. Ooh, that was close. Seven for Australia is Jodie Schultz. Across the face of goal it goes again, and once again for Australia, Ashley Nelson was there, but she couldn't quite get the stick to the ball. Now this is Australia now really surging late in the game. You get the sense they're going to throw everything they've got here. They have to, otherwise they're going to leave this series empty-handed after doing a lot right over the course of the 3 matches. Stacia Joseph. Here it goes to Jade Schultz. And there is Jade Taylor. Into the D it goes, kicked away by the Blacksticks keeper, Sally Rutherford. It's with Jodie Schultz. Stacia Joseph. And that ball into the path of Ashley Nelson gets a little bit too hard. I've got less than a minute to go on my clock, unofficial time. New Zealand, oh, that didn't clear. Mickelson controls the ball. Finds Anita punt, dispossessed. And Australia move forward. Kelly White into the D. Oh, there was an opportunity there for the Australians. It's over the sideline. Ferguson there. Time almost up on my clock. New Zealand go forward. They lob the ball into attack. This could be Australia's last attack here. Kobe McGurk. The Hockeyroos, one last chance, one feels. Over the baseline, still with possession and the territory. Promising situation here. Jodie Schultz drives it into the D. That's Emily Naylor is there for the Blacksticks. And she controls the ball quite nicely. Over the sideline it goes. Driving it deep is Emily Naylor, but Australia still with more opportunities. Into the D it goes. Trapped inside the circle, but the player there was Jade Close. She couldn't control it. It went over the baseline. How many more chances will Australia get? The answer is none. New Zealand win 4-2, and they win the series. Well, that's bad luck for Australia. They did so much right over the 4 days, but 3 days, couldn't control those last 15 minutes. Goals to S. Swiss and Glynn at the 23 and 30 minute marks of the second half. destroyed Australia's chances, Sean, and New Zealand have come from a long way back to win this series, and who knows, they could leave this city of Hobart with the 2 series wins in the bag, with their men very much in the box seat in the men's series.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we'll come back to Hobart ever again if both teams lose. No, only kidding. Obviously, a disappointing result for the girls. As you mentioned, they've done a lot of things right this tournament. Would have been great for them to take it out, but I think that we've seen some really good signs of improvement from our younger players, and just even from my personal point of view, last time I saw them play at the Champions Trophy a few months ago, and I've seen significant improvement from there. So if we continue to improve at that rate, by the time we get to London, we're going to still be a better team. And, there's a lot of positives to take out of the tournament.
Just wrapping it up, Sean, New Zealand got the 2 goals within, 12 minutes of the end of the game in the series through a Swiss. And then Katie Glynn, one of the best moves of the 3 matches, put away a great opportunity, and maybe New Zealand's experience perhaps told, but just across those 3 matches, nothing between those 2 sides, and Australia came back well yesterday from the 2-goal deficit at half-time, but today the deficit was just a bit too large and a bit too late.
No, absolutely nothing between these 2 sides, and I'm really looking forward to seeing them play against each other at the Olympics. I think it's going to be one of the better games. As I said, being the media man, I'm going to put a positive spin on it. I really do believe there are some positives for our team. Just looking at the girls at the moment, they're very, very disappointed in this today's game. Will probably hurt them a bit, but I think that the best team won today. In terms of New Zealand, I felt sort of played better for the majority of the day, so they'll leave deserving winners, and I think they're a team to watch out for in London as well. They're a real big chance to sneak a medal. They won bronze at the Champions Trophy, so they'll improve between now and London as well. So I wouldn't be underestimating them.
They were very good. Both sides were excellent, really, across the 3 matches. And the way it fell at the end of the 3rd game was that New Zealand led 4-2, and therefore has taken the series on goal difference after Australia won the 1st game, and the 2nd was a draw. And today New Zealand claimed the win and also the series with a 2-goal victory. The final score in the 3rd match of the best of 3 series: New Zealand 4, Australia 2.